Hey, what's up? It's Friday. Look, I tried. I put a wig on. Anyway, by the time you see this, it'll probably be Saturday, so let's just stop saying what day it is, but it is Friday, mos. What's up in the name of Christ? I hope you're good. It's Karabo. I hope you're stellar and in a neat bunch. Anyway, just have to put a caveat out there. My captions are not always accurate, so if you're always just reading them and you can hear, just try very hard to just listen to my voice instead. But if you're deaf, I'm sorry, use the YouTube captions. I like them there because they're ornate, they're animated and cute and creative, and I like being creative, so if they're inaccurate, I do apologize. I'm wearing makeup with CapCut. I'm disquieted by my skin, but it's okay, it's alright. Really, I'll inherit an incorruptible body, and my skin will be fixed, and if that doesn't happen fast enough, I will eventually go see a dermatologist. On which day all this will be clear. Speaking of dermatologist, of which, y'all, I'm not doing this like proper. We're just not doing it. Deeply dark and satanic men will always gawk at me for as long as I'm in this position. So I essentially have to survive this sorrow, this poverty, and this insanity. I have to survive it. I have to get out of it before I will be left alone by filthy men. They will literally be on my neck like the craving at KFC. Or is it chicken licking? You know, that ugly green orange monster. Yeah, until there is nothing that they can use in order to see if they can't infiltrate my life. And this really is a discussion to women, conversation to women, to say thank you very much for abandoning me at the beck and call of some pretty satanic, ominous, perverted, creepy, nefarious, beastly male individuals of a satanic nature that have been spawned through a process of metamorphosis straight from the center of hell. Thank you for throwing those at me. However, given that you've thrown them at me, today is a discussion particularly to the females. Anyway, my skin. You see this acne all over the show that's giving you quite, the jivey groove. Understand that I had a dream also about one little devil worshipper that is looking at me thinking, but I'll take you to a dermatologist. That's just the thing. All this neglect by women has made men literally pick at every last thing that's falling off me and be like, I'll fix it insofar as you marry me. So it turns out I'm apparently on auction by some of the most demonic men on earth, because women have seen it fit to put me in the forefront of them. Okay, listen up, all of y'all that have put me at the forefront of men that think they can fix my skin so that one day I can be like, oh, if it wasn't for you, my skin wouldn't have cleared. Now I was dealing with the total gangster amount of acne scarring. This is what I gotta say to you. All of these random males, ne, that are, what's happening over there? Oh, I think I know. All of these random males, ne, that are looking at this wig, for instance, thinking, I can get you human hair. I'm like, dude, I'm growing a mane just like this, properly, but out of my scalp. So all I need is just time for me to get to this place. And time means patience, patience of which means Jesus Christ eventually had my back and fixed my issues with hair. So one day I'm gonna have some pretty awesome curls up tops because I'm growing them underneath this wig. Long story short, my reality is eventually going to catch up with how I feel inside. I feel important, I feel special, I feel like a disciple that's dearly beloved by Jesus. But it doesn't really show on the outside because I'm going through my season of testing as Job. Therefore, until such time that the reality catches up with the reality. In other words, until such time that the outward situation catches up with the true state of affairs, I might be getting some females out here throwing me like an auction item to some filthy men that might even identify that perhaps maybe I need some false eyelashes instead of the ones that are applied by an application for makeup, and be like, I can buy you falsies, honey, without even realizing that I don't even like real makeup. Okay, right, because it's not that good for skin, especially skin like mine. Yeah, that looks like this. We don't do makeup on acne prone skin, we just don't. Thank God that's done. Guys, if I'm looking up tops over there, I'm trying to do edits at the same time. We're gonna talk to females, okay? Lord God Almighty knows how to give a sister an idea or some ideas to talk to people, ne? And we're gonna talk to people. There is this jam in the country. Ooh, I'm gonna. There we go. Burp. We did it. Before we spoke, the Lord went before, released a burp. Before it came out, just like He speaks, and it happens. Can't nobody go against the decree of the word of the Lord. Can't nobody come against my burp. Somebody gotta release some air, and this is me releasing the air that is in my heart. Women, I'm gonna put you in your place. I don't care about your jealousy. I don't care about your competitiveness. I also don't care about what under heaven you imagine is your sanctimoniousness or your self-righteousness to abandon me in this position. I have a bone to pick with you and a diss. Especially labafazi laba that have a history of occult involvement but are no longer involved in Satan worship, at least at that depth. There is something I gotta tell you. I got a little something to tell you. Okay, so like it's 16:27. I gotta work out at some point. Y'all saw me yesterday when I was working out. I was looking all like out of it. It's because I pushed myself despite a lot of severe amount of demonic attack because I'm that warrior chick. I feel better today, so I should be looking better today on the dance floor. Nonetheless, all of that dancing has caused quite a few females to want to be out here judging me because mina jiva to what you call secular music. Okay, fine. Mock and diss and tease me, but you will remember that I cried, and 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 I was like, there's a devil worshipper all up in my grill. Help, Batung. I'm under attack. I am severely mistreated, and there is a man that is trying to get me to commit suicide. Tusangbo, I was literally singing yo 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 dum 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 muzewaka watubeha Tusangbo. I was asking for help, and these females then stood back and watched a woman literally suffocate under demonic attack 24 hours a day till I found a way to survive until further notice. And the only way that I'm surviving out here with the resources that I have is through exercise. And the exercise that I do, I cannot do it with any other music because it's dance other than secular music. I literally have no other way around it. So I try to take out the sound, right? What is this? The lyrics. I try to manipulate sound in such a way that you don't hear the lyrics. You just hear pretty much the instrumental in the background and some squeaky little voice talking. And then I dance, right? I have cleaned up my dance. I have put clothes on my body to make sure that I'm not stumbling to anybody. But because I'm actually talented, that's just the problem. If I was out here moving left to right, looking like I've got two left feet, okay, you wouldn't have a problem with it. The issue you have, ladies, is the fact that I can actually dance. Yeah, I can actually dance because I am an actual dancer. I have skill, I have talent, and so out of envy, you are thoroughly accusing me of being worldly. When the music, if at all you didn't recognize it, because you also come from the world, if you did not recognize those songs, you wouldn't even know which song it is. You wouldn't hear the lyrics, you would just be hearing that's all you would be hearing. So essentially, a person that's never listened to secular music in their life before, never heard any of these songs, wouldn't even know what in the world I'm dancing to. They wouldn't even know because I mute the sound in a way so as to take out all the lyrics, and all you have is the instrumental, and the woman standing in front of you is fully clothed and dancing in a way that is responsible. I am incorporating squats, lunges, I am incorporating fire hydrants if I can, pretty much all the rote mundane moves that you would do in a gymnasium where you are squatting, doing a deadlift, whatever, but instead of me doing it in a very boring way where it's like one lunge, one squat, one crunch, one whatever, I'm dancing. So I dance the squat in, I dance the lunge in. I deliberately go out of my way to make sure that I do very deep squats, low squats to get to certain muscle groups. But I'm kind of fluid in the way I do it because I'm dancing. So any other woman just doing a regular pita pati people up down 5 squats you wouldn't have a problem with, but you have a problem with me because I'm dancing, and you want to claim that I'm sensual. You also want to claim that I am dancing to licentious music or music that is worldly when I have gone out of my way to literally tweak and change that music so as to not stumble anyone listening to it, because of the fact that I understand that I am a Christian and I'm doing Christian ministry. There is anybody at all that would come into my ministry having never heard a single secular song in their life wouldn't even know what those songs are. They wouldn't even know what the lyrics are. They would just be hearing pretty much an instrumental with a squeaky voice and unable to gauge what the words. It's what I did. I literally went out of my way to make sure that that's a thing. But women in particular, the Lord has shown me a whole audience of them sitting around on some she's worldly. You're jealous. You are jealous in the literally center of a woman that was about to die from suicide because she kept getting attacked by some monster. And the only way out, the Lord told her, was work out so you can get dopamine, endorphins, all the stuff in your body that you might have a natural chemical that is counteracting depression. That's how you're going to get out of this. So I danced, and now I am conquering. So much so am I conquering that this sick little coven full of dirty, filthy men into trying to force me to marry them, they don't know what to do with themselves. They're literally running around on the spot, spinning, trying to hook up new spells, saying, but this doesn't work, this doesn't work. I am conquering so heavy and so hard knock as a spiritual warrior, conquering even your Ananias and Sapphira disposition. In other words, your neglect of me. You just stood back and did nothing when I was crying that a man is putting me at the precipice of suicide. That's what's good. Yeah, you sat back and did nothing until I found a way to survive whatever this little menace in America was doing to me and some other coven in South Africa. And all of those screams and cries that I was sending on the rooftops, you were privy to them. You sat back and hoped that I would survive, and guess what I did, ladies? I survived. I survived. And instead of being happy cheering because what you call a sister in Jesus Christ survived a suicide curse, you are out here hating on me, calling me worldly. I'm sorry. This is what's going to be happening at the bema seat of Jesus Christ. The Lord is going to tell you where to get off in the same way that I'm currently telling you where to get off. Where were you? Where were you, seeing as you are out here judging my daughter for surviving a suicide curse that you did nothing about? Where were you when she was nearly about to freaking kill herself? Where were you? Absolutely nowhere. This is the way that I am surviving, and like I said, I put clothes on my body. I am not stumbling. The only thing that might stumble you is jealousy, because that's just what happens when a person does really well. If I could sing like an opera singer to a point where I could break a glass when I'm reaching those high notes, there would be somebody envying that, and so therefore say that I'm busy. I'm basically noisy in the room, breaking the eardrums of some children. Somebody would have something to say when they're jealous. The Bible says anger is overwhelming and fury is a flood, but who can stand before jealousy? Envy will make you call me sensual. Envy will make you call me worldly when I am obviously working for Jesus. And envy will also make you somehow substantiate why you had to stand back and do nothing for me. So in retrospect, or rather when you think back about having disregarded my cries for help, now you are standing where you're standing saying, feeling good about having not done nothing for me, because you are literally thinking that Jesus is sitting in heaven thinking that, Karabo, you are basically departed from me and disqualified in accordance to the faith because you're dancing to who is that? Beyonce. Never mind Beyonce. I was actually thinking that other white girl with the small little nose that's very skinny. Yeah, okay, the skinny guy, not Katy Perry, but the other one. Yeah, because you're dancing to her music. And my thing is, okay, let me just save this before I... Taylor Swift, that's the woman whose name I was looking for. You're not even taking into consideration that even the music got Taylor Swift that I choose to dance to, if it is Taylor for that moment, I am careful to make sure it is clean, that there is no profanity in it. I'm not going out of my way to find some profane hard knock rap song that's going to be calling women the B word and using the P word all over the show and just basically ransacking my own eardrums. I'm even careful in choosing the music that I dance to, whether or not it is secular. So what I'm trying to come here and lament about concerning Abafazi, literally, let me sing you that South African song, Vava's J. Where were you? Where were you when I was at the height of suicide ideation? Where were you when some menace in America was ransacking my life so hard knock and so bad? Do you understand? What's going on? Exactly. Listen to that. I'm doing an edit right now, right? It's perfect if that's coming on. Okay, I'm busy uploading that particular short on Facebook, so it is ideal that you got to hear that, right? That is Yemi Alade's Bom Bom or Tom Bom or whatever, right? But you don't know that, especially those that are sitting in America. You highly likely do not know much of Yemi Alade's music, right? Especially when she is singing in her own language, in her Nigerian dialect, whatever it is, right? So if you do not know the song, how is it going to stumble you? You just know it's an African song. You can tell more or less from the what is this, instrumental, but you cannot tell that it is... That is Yemi Alade's song, and you can't even tell. You can't tell. I had to be the one to tell you that that's what it is. All right. And then you stand outside and you feel good about having neglected me. Better, not good. Okay, let me not accuse you of feeling good, because that might just be a little bit unfair. But you feel better about standing back and doing nothing when a woman was at the very end of her life. I literally nearly died at my own hand because I kept on getting sent a barrage of death curses from some filthy animal in America and some coven in South Africa. And I kept on saying, the occult is trying to kill me, the occult is trying to kill me. You don't want to believe me. And then when I went and embarked on a strategy that has always worked, in this season of suffering, the only thing that's ever worked is a combination of ministry talking, rapping on, chatting, over here, and also dance. We're working out, a combination of working out and basically sitting on my own therapist chair to talk sense into the situation that I am facing has worked for 9 years. But for about a year, I neglected one segment of that, which was exercise, and it nearly killed me. And when I went back, I literally got shown by the Lord a barrage of especially crazy women that have been following me, and out of envy, literally reduced me to some woman in the world that is lost. Wait again, can we just have a look at biblical persecution? First and foremost, my phone is so hot, I really hope it does not die on me, because I don't have an alternative device where I'm recording right now. I'm just trusting that because the weather has cooled down and it's night, it's not going to continue in this ridiculous trajectory. But nonetheless, biblical persecution. Let us think about why in the world under heaven, what it is that I am going through. Why am I going through it? My life, am I a woman utterly and just entirely deserves, violently abandoned by everyone she's ever loved, looked at by no one but filthy men, perverts, basically a candidate for human trafficking because I dance to secular music? For real? Seriously? I mean, let's think about it this way. Imagine there was a show on, I believe it's currently on Netflix right now. It's a movie called Room, an award winner of sorts. And I do believe it's based on a true story of this one woman that was kidnapped by some pervert and locked in a basement for years and raped repeatedly until she had like a son or a daughter with this like pervert that kidnapped her from the age of like 16 or whatever and kept her for years until she was like in her mid-20s. Now, if that woman, so that she would survive suicide in this small little room that she is in with no other resources at her disposal, she's got nothing else. She does not have options. There is no diversity of choice concerning what she can do in this 4x4 room. But she is not trying to kill herself because she's got hope that one day God is going to come through for her and there will be a rescue effort. And when then she has been rescued, she will focus on doing things the way that she would much rather do them. So restricted and limited. Then this woman finds a little radio in a corner and then finds a CD, and the only CD in this radio that is in there. And it's like heavy metal music. And she decides that she's going to dance to it every single day, so as to conquer the depression that is in her brains, that she doesn't have to think, because she loves dance. She remembers she's always been a dancer, and it's the one thing that always set her free. It's the one thing that made her feel really good. But the last time she danced, she was in the world, or rather, last time she danced, she was a happy woman. She was not a kidnapped girl, trafficked by some animal in a basement. But it's all she could do. And so when then she's doing this thing to survive, and her little abuser walks into the room finding her dancing to heavy metal music, then salivates, then starts to basically get sexually aroused by her when he's looking at her from the keyhole of this room. Would you accuse this woman of seducing her rapist? Would you accuse her of seducing a rapist? Or would you say she is trying to survive and some filthy animal that is a psychopath thoroughly made a decision to go on right ahead and lust after her in that position? You cannot call me a woman that is stumbling men that are looking at me through a keyhole in their perverted mindsets. Do you understand what I'm saying? When I am trying to survive with the radio I found in the room that I am in, having been kidnapped, and I'm trying to survive to get to the day when I can finally get out of here, and so therefore no longer be salivated after by those who are opportunistic or men who are full of exploitation. There is, what show is this that I was watching? Back when I was watching Blacklist, I stopped watching it because it just got too dark for me on Netflix. There is a criminal there in the no, it wasn't Blacklist. I think it was Blacklist in the underworld. No, it could have been some other crime show. I don't know. I can't recall. But one of the criminals in question that were being dealt with was of this pastor guy, a preacher. No, it was not Blacklist. It was something else. He was like a preacher serial killer, right? I'm wondering, what was it? Blacklist? What was it? No, it was some crime show that I was watching on Netflix, right? And the story was of some preacher pastor guy that had become a rapist and serial killer of women. What it is that converted him to Catholicism, he was a Catholic pastor, was basically his struggle with lust as a child. When he was a boy child, he struggled with lust, and he was not the most handsome boy in the school. And so the girls used to reject him. Therefore, all the hot girls in the school that he lusted after always passed him shade, and they always gave him bad energy back. In return, they never reciprocated feelings for him, and this embarked him on such an angry journey. He was so mad at women for what he called turning them on. So all you had to do in the presence of this animal was be beautiful, have a particular personality, be coy, dainty, the things that girls just generally do when they're not busy suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, if you know what I'm saying. Like just being a girly girl, and then some dude has a crush on you because they like how girly you are. But this dude, instead of him being a regular dude that has a crush on a girl that's being dainty and typically very girly, he developed a perversion in that regard, because he was very rejected by these women. He would smile at them, they wouldn't smile back, they would ignore him completely. Sometimes they wouldn't even know he's in the room. They wouldn't even know he's in the room. And feeling ignored by these women, he then decided that, look, he needs to bridle his lust because he can't quite lay with every woman that he wants to be with. Plus, he imagined it as a sin to go and fornicate and what have you, so he turned over to Catholicism, right? The Catholic priesthood then trained him, if you become a Catholic pastor, you cannot have sex at all. You have to basically take out a vow of celibacy. He made a decision to do this vow of celibacy. Unfortunately, however, for this little bugaboo, right, he then went on right ahead to lust after women wearing clothes from tip to toe, like covering their whole bodies, nuns. The nuns in the convent where he was working, he then salivated after them despite them being completely robed. Entirely robed. You know how nuns be? They be covering everything except just a section of their faces. Looking like women in the Middle East. And he somehow managed to salivate after one particular nun who had teeth that were too sexy, I guess, or cheeks that were too sexy. And then he raped her. After raping her, he then killed her. And that was the beginning of his spree as a serial killer. So now this man ended up basically being this like prolific murderer. Any woman that he felt turned him on. That nun apparently had it coming. Why? Because she was kind to him. She was sweet. But just like the girls in high school that kept on rejecting the living daylights out of him, they would smile at him and be fresh, and so he would think, she likes me. And then next thing, when he's all up and like trying to touch her and grab her, she's like, no, I did. Like, what are you doing? And then he's like, how dare you seduce me with your smile? Seriously, that is a psychopath. That is a psychopath. You know what I'm saying? Like, how dare you seduce me for smiling at you? I'm being kind. That's all that is. When a person has a deep sexual perversion in them, you do not go on right ahead and accuse the woman for seducing them. You don't do that. It's irresponsible. It is entirely irresponsible to do that. This man then not only went on to murder a nun after fleeing from the convent where he killed a nun, and so he couldn't get found, he went into hiding, and in hiding, he then slayed like a whole bunch of other women. Women in his the maid in his hotel room wound up one of his victims. Some girl that he was chatting with in an airplane at the airport ended up being his victim. What did these women do? Absolutely nothing. One lady was talking to him gently and kindly and having compassion on him for his issue, and then at the end of the conversation, she decided to hug him. And because she hugged him, he imagined her as one who is assaulting him and seducing him. She hugged him because she felt his plea, and the hug was neutral. And he made a decision that she had to die. She was actually the woman that got saved. At the end of the day, there's always a woman that they save or a victim that they rescue, that the police basically break down the doors and rescue. This one black lady became the rescue victim who survived a serial killer that had killed all his other victims. And when you look at all of these other victims, they tended to be beautiful women. And one was like an engineer, the other was a scientist. Nothing of them. They were not OnlyFans models. They were just regular girls that, however, turned a man on who has a deep perversion that cannot even be blinked at by a woman and not get turned on, and then feels offended when these women reject him, and then he kills them. That's the kind of eyes, those are the kinds of eyes that I have drawn to myself, and my poverty has made me an even deeper victim. So for those reasons, when I work out like any other fitness dancer, on YouTube, anybody else that dances for fitness or squats, or anybody that does fitness, you don't even have to be dancing, just a regular squat. You will have some salivating perverts looking at you. You will have, even you could be wearing a parachute. As a woman, your smile alone, like I said with that nun that basically apparently afflicted this fake preacher. She was fully clothed in nun clothing. Nonetheless, she was awarded selepe on her neck. She was awarded murder for merely just having features of a woman, having the shape of a woman. The softness of a woman's face, the softness of a woman's smile, the sparkle in the eyes of a woman when she smiles, when that turns a pervert on, when she's done nothing at all. You do not get to blame the woman. You do not get to blame. These are the kinds of things that get women abused in the world. These are the kinds of things that cause a whole man cave of misogynistic idiots to say she called it upon herself. Like proper. Imagine a little girl on a playground wearing shorts, because that's what little girls wear, shorts. Do you understand? Nobody should be finding or salivating after a little girl wearing shorts, running around. And every time when she runs, the wind blows her top up, and so you see her big stomach. You know how they've got nikaba, these little girls. And then this man is like, this child is showing me her body. Are you serious? It's a little girl. It's a little girl. Those shorts, the one leg of the shorts can fit on your arm, the way that you're so big. There is nothing sexy about that. You do not find a baby's naked body sexy. That's why baby girls can be changed their diapers by their dads. That's why baby boys can be changed their diapers by their moms. That's why baby boys up to a certain age can even shower and bath with their mom. Or they're the two siblings that are baby boy and baby girl. Up to a certain age, you can bath them together. Up to a certain age. It's because there just is nothing sensual, or ought not be anything sensual about kids at that age, but there will be somebody who will be turned on by that. So are you going to tell me that little girl had it coming when she's wearing shorts on the school playground as she's jumping up and down in the jungle gym? Or is the problem here the pedophile? Exactly. So go grab the imagery, the same story with the pedophile, and then take a man with an extreme sexual perversion over looking at a woman that is exercising online. And I'm not talking about these fitness gym bunnies of 2023. I am not talking at this point about these fitness gym bunnies of 2023 that will rock a, what do you call this thing? Like leggings that have got stitching in the center of the butt to basically isolate the two different buttock cheeks, and then go to the gym wearing that. It's like wearing a G-string, for crying out loud. That's irresponsible. These gym ladies, these gym chicks all over the show or on the internet, no, that's just wrong. But a woman that's going to be wearing tracksuit pants and maybe just a loose fitting, you know, just to make sure that but every so often when she raises her hand in a particular way, you can see the sports bra underneath, or if at all it comes off her shoulder a little bit and you see her sports bra, and she's lifting weights. Look, a woman that works out and takes care of her body will always be attractive to some men. Whether or not she's wearing a parachute at the gym or is barely dressed like these gym bunnies that you find all over the internet, next thing they be blaming men for some issues. But the responsibly dressed ones, I would even go so far as to say the ones that are wearing just a crop top and some leggings, and they are showing you how to work out like this and like that, but they're not going out of their way to show you every crack and crevice and every nook and cranny of their bodies. What in the world under heaven are you doing, accusing these women of calling it on themselves when they are showing people how to be fit? What in the world under heaven are we supposed to do? Nahe, I take it even one step further, where I don't wear crop tops. I take it one step further and cover up my whole body. I wear if I'm wearing just a tights, like, is it lycra, nylon, sheer, the tight, you get my point. In South Africa we call them the tight. I don't know like what in the world you would call them overseas. Yeah, like regular gym tights, okay? Yeah, those, when I wear them, I put shorts on top of them to make sure that like the definition of my glutes and my whatnot does not come out and it doesn't show. Otherwise I could just wear them alone. I know of a Christian woman who does fitness, and she is doing fitness for Christ. That's literally the name of her channel. And she's fully clothed and she wears tights and tops that cover her stomach and everything. But the tights are such that you can actually see the definition on her body. She does not put anything on top of that, and I still find her content appropriate. However, now went out of my way to even put shorts on top of those tights. I never would wear tights alone by themselves. I always put shorts on top. And for crying out loud, despite all these efforts I'm making, I am being looked at by women in particular. I will not blame men at this particular instance. Women are looking at me on some, she's worldly, she's carnal. The reason why you're giving me grief is because my way of working out is a talent. My way of working out is a talent. Let us just confess. Regular exercise is not in and of itself a talent unless you're a bodybuilder. It is just you lifting dumbbells at the gym, a kettlebell. It is you using circuit training. It is you doing Pilates is a talent. You know, you like doing Zumba is a talent, doing the cha-cha, whatever, that is a talent. But a regular squat or a regular jogging on the treadmill, that's not a talent. That is something that you cultivate over time to get stronger and better at, but it's not really a talent. A talent is singing. A talent is dancing. A talent is baking. That is a talent. Do you understand what I'm saying? Well, I work out with a talent. I work out with a talent, and my talent is dance. So precisely because I am not standing and sitting on a treadmill telling you do these many reps walking and these many reps jogging slowly and then speed up and then go back down again, because that's not the way that I'm doing fitness, you are properly trying to accuse me out of covetousness of my talent, of all different kinds of random strange stuff. Like, a woman can never dance. Guys, the thing about talents is they will always draw attraction from a person that can sing really well. Let me find a guy on the internet that sings, that does covers, that I have an attraction to because of how well he sings. His name is called Joseph Solomon. All right. Largely, Joseph Solomon's covers are, he does do covers to secular music, but he tends to keep it clean. Clean of profanity, clean of whatever. And he's extremely gifted. And because of his giftedness, you will literally develop a crush on some, ooh, if a man could serenade me like with a voice like that, I'd feel really blessed. So if then you can develop a crush on somebody because of how well they sing, then it means that a talent can be covetable that way. It can draw emotions. It can inspire a certain set of feelings in you because of a person being that good at doing it. So if you can beatbox, if you can sing, if you can do poetry, and so inspire stronger emotions towards yourself because of that gift and talent, then it means that there is potential to feel hostile feelings towards a talent. If at all they're not positive. If it's not romantic interest because a guy can sing really well, it could be jealousy because he's not your guy. And then on that day when it's jealousy, you start to say stupid stuff like he can't even sing. And on top of that, he's singing secular music. You end up hating on it because of covetousness. Jealousy is the thing that inspires you to wreak havoc. And so with me, because I exercise using a talent, every so often it inspires, what do you call this? Jealousy. The jealousy of which then, when you are jealous of somebody, you will literally manufacture all different kinds of tall tales against them to try and justify why under heaven it is that what they're doing is dumb. Dance is a talent. And I personally really love dance. And so every so often when I watch dancers dance, my emotions get spurred up. It is my gift. It's my talent. It's what I'm drawn to. It's what I like watching. And music too, singing. I've got musical gifts. So I am drawn to people with musical talents. So I love musicians. I love music, and I also love dance, and I love dancers. But I am able to discern when a dancer is getting out of line in the name, or out of line in a lot of the image of Jesus. So there's a lot of sensuality in the dance industry. Women basically going up and down a pole, stripping and claiming that it is fit for children to consume because it's on YouTube type thing. There is a differentiator between those. And then there are these very interesting moves that are done by all of these fully clothed, generally innocent kids on TikTok. And when they are moving, you can be like, oh, that's such a cool move. Oh, that's such a cool move. So I go out of my way to find dancers to look at on the internet that are not going out of their way to be sensual. One such dancer that I keep watching the content of in order to basically cleanse the sensuality out of me, because I used to be very sensual. Because I'm inspired by the way that she dances, because it's not grieving. It does not make you feel like, oh my goodness, like stop hurting God, because she's just moving in a way that is obviously very talented. First of all, there are two groups of people. The first person is, what's her name? Taylor Pierce. She does these very rigid dances, like sort of kind of like looking like a robot. Taylor's not sensual even in the slightest. But she is skilled, very skilled, to a point where as a woman you would covet her, you would be jealous. And if you're jealous, you're gonna go on and say, "I suka, she can't move," or "I don't know what's the point over here," or you'll come up with some accusation of sorts. But I like Taylor because when I watch her, I don't get stumbled to copy or follow something that might grieve the heart of God. Dance is from the Lord, so too is singing, music, all these things. It is when the devil perverts them that things then become problematic. So I have cleaned up who I watch. I've stopped watching Aaliyah Janelle and other such dancers, and I've started watching dance that I can basically consume that is not going out of its way to arouse people sexually, but they're just like walking in their craft as dance, and that's what I watch to try and copy to make sure that I keep it clean. I literally go out of my way to try and keep it clean. I don't pride myself in twerking. You would not ever see me twerking. You would like proper, like I try. really hard. Another bunch of kids that I like to watch the content of, or dancers, what do they call them? Annalise World. Annalise World is another bunch of dancing people that are clean. They're clean, but they're really good. But the thing about Annalise World is you would envy them if you don't have self-control. You would covet how well they dance and then start to tease and mock them for a myriad of reasons, even though it's clean dance. It is properly clean dance. I go out of my way to look for clean dance. And just because somebody is really skilled at what they do does not make them offensive to God. The Lord is the one that gave us all of these gifts and all of these talents. So it would be foolish for you to imagine that God Almighty is only content with the gifts that he has given to the human race being used for the kingdom of darkness. God does not want all of his musicians being Beyonce. God does not want all of his dancers being Aaliyah Janelle. God, or Nicole Kirkland. God does not want all of his, actors being... Give me some actor and fellow actress that's always acting in some shoddy, underhanded roles. The Lord wants creative gifting in the kingdom of heaven because, like I said with Joseph Solomon, when a person is so incredibly gifted in a particular thing, they can spur up emotion. Emotion is God. God is emotional. He created music that we might cry over it. He created talents that we might look at somebody singing and cry when we hear them sing. Whenever a person, I love music so much and singing, that whenever I hear a really good voice, when a person is doing a cover and their voice is really good, I get goosebumps and sometimes I even trickle a tear down my eye. It's because of the fact that I am musically charged. It's the gift that I have. So do you seriously think that God wants me to be bland, rote, mundane? Do you seriously think that God wants his extremely skilled people of the earth that he created in his own image to only be like all of them usurped by Satan? All of them. The only really great choreography, the only really good choreography that's incredibly inspirational can only belong to dancers gyrating for some licentious song done by Beyonce. Are you seriously of the imagination that God is content that he created human beings with all these gifts that they might all be used for the devil? I'm sorry. Good craft, good giftedness in delivery of a craft is from God. And so Christians should do everything in their power to launder whatever gifts they have, that they might be suitable or made fit for the kingdom of heaven. And if you do that, you display that excellent music and excellent dance does not only belong to Hollywood. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. So you cannot accuse me of stumbling people. Because literally in comparison, and while I should not be comparing myself to anyone in the world, if anything, I'm comparing myself to a Christian woman that I found online whose content is to do fitness for Christian women. She dresses just the way that I dress. The only difference between the two of us is that she does regular rote mundane exercises with no music, whereas I dance because that's what works for me. There is also another woman that's got over 1 million subscribers that does fitness, and it is clean. It is clean. And she also every so often dances to gospel music. She does dance and road to mixes. I don't know what her name is, but I don't think that God is upset with that woman because of the fact that, every so often she wears, tights? What do you call this thing? A sports bra. I personally would not be content with wearing a sports bra with nothing on top of it because I feel like that's not being modest enough. But I don't think that woman is going to be getting a gavel of sensuality slapped on her for her fitness content, all of it, if at all she makes it to heaven because she claims to be a Christian. I do not believe that the Lord is going to give her that grief over that thing because of the fact that talents don't belong to the devil, all of them. If you are going out of your way to praise God and glorify his name and make it clear that this is done in his name, for crying out loud, it doesn't mean you have to be rote, mundane, boring, rigid, 2 left feet, unable to bounce a basketball at all. You can't have any talent if you're a Christian. How many Christians are busy praying on sporting fields in the world today that are being mocked and teased and dissed for saying the name of Jesus on the sporting field? Extreme left in America or wherever it is that they might find themselves in the world. Everywhere. But bottom line is, with making that analogy, explaining that is to make it clear that there are Christians in some of the most talented professions in the world. And they're being given a hard time for being Christian. So what makes you think that being a disciple of the Lord Jesus Christ means you gotta be talentless? If you're a poet, you have to be substandard to the best poets of the earth that are busy doing poetry for the devil? No! The Lord is the one that gives gifts. And we have to use those talents for him. So if I'm doing poetry in Christ, you can't give me grief. For instance, let me just save